That one's a 2 million. That's a lot of grain.
I also own a farm.
Here we go. You're now watching the 2024 season of Farming with Duffy Ag. Welcome back to the channel. So previously we loaded, our trailer's gone. Somebody stole it. Dude, where'd the trailer go? Gone. But no, we left it at Brian Brock's. It just made it more convenient. We're gonna have a gourmet breakfast, and appreciate you guys watching along. Today's gonna be a good day. We got one tour lined up and we got one stop to do, and then we might actually have 2 stops. We got to see how we go. You don't even know yet. Well, gourmet meal, another home cooked meal. Let's get after it. Oh yeah, home cooking. Can't beat it. Gorgeous country up through here. So as I've stated in previous videos, out here they're pretty much done with harvest. They had a drought of a year. Brian explained some of it, that he had neighbors that had, I'd consider 80 bushel corn a failure crop. And they had a lot of fires out this way because of being so dry in spots. Not everybody had the same situations, but yeah. So they had corn back in late September that was like 14%. Well, early September that was 14%, just because it never got water. But we're gonna cruise up here, hook onto the trailer, and you guys are in for a treat. We got a little tour this morning. Brian's been set up. It's been a minute since we've been here. We came and got the disc, so that would have been 2 years ago. That wasn't at the farm at that time. It was on the farm, but not here. How big is this dryer?
Oh God, you asked me too quick. I don't have proof. It's slow.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys will realize shortly here what is going on, either in today's video or tomorrow's video. We'll wander over here. Love snooping. He's got all his loggers out back. We have done, he has given us more of a tour. I like that gray trailer. I think it would look good. So 8430, 4850, 9760 STS, 9500 row gator. I think that's 120 foot booms. Maybe I'm wrong. I still think I'd like a row gator, 60 foot booms, spread out tires. But we're gonna get down the road. We checked our load, looking good. We got one tour today, and definitely one stop, maybe 2 stops. We got to see how our day goes. Appreciate Brian Brock and everybody involved getting the auger to his place and helping us get it loaded on. It needs a little bit of love, but it should be good for really what we paid. We paid a couple $100 for this, so that is one thing out this way. The stuff I want, the junkier stuff, nobody wants it. Last time I was out here, Brian showed me around a little bit. So this is Sunrise's fertilizer facility out back there. He's gonna see about, we gotta see how much time we have. And this is seed and chemical up front here. So it's a co-op. But where we're going is right there right now. Oh yeah, so Sunrise co-op. This is a co-op. That's a pretty large scale grain farm in the back. Very large scale. But co-op is big. Where are we?
South Charleston, Ohio.
South Charleston, Ohio. All right, let's see what we can do.
Out of 1 and 2, you had to jackknife, go around the building, and then you had to go out on the road and back on the scale. Everybody would bust the concrete wall along the scale.
This is so cool.
It was kind of sad though when the feed mill closed, but
Yeah, but the amount of actual dairy out here left isn't that much, right?
a lot amount of livestock period.
Yeah.
Which we're starting to get more and more people back into it. At one time there wasn't too many dairy.
We can walk.
We can do whatever. We're down for whatever.
Yeah, it ain't. Does good walk sometimes, right?
Yeah, we've been stuck in the truck a couple days.
So in there, we saw the history of the mill on this side. So when was this actually started?
This side?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew you'd ask that. Well, I know it's been when Matt Kinley started here, and I think he's been here pushing 10 years. Matt Kinley started here. I think the only been here was 58.
So in 10 years, that the left side of the tracks has grown.
Yes, and I've been here 3 years. In the last 3 years, we put up 2 million bushel bins, and I think that other one's a 1.2 million bushel bin, or 1.5 or something like that.
So how much storage total then?
Over 9 million.
Corn and soybeans, or is there wheat in anything?
Corn, soybeans, and wheat.
Wow.
Within the last couple of years, we added this dust system.
Okay.
We didn't have a dust system on it before. And then we put in the rain, made it a little bit. Well, we had to raise it up a little bit in order to put the dust system.
Okay.
That's why we got the.
So during harvest season, how many tractor trailer loads could you handle in a day?
Yeah, this year was a little bit different because of quality.
Yep.
Obviously, you guys know that.
Yep.
There's the year before, there was anywhere from, we've done 400,000 bushel a day. So you're talking over 400 trucks. Since we added bit 5, our dump time from the time they scale in
Yep.
to the time they leave is under 10 minutes. Actually,
That's not a bad weight at all.
Actually, most of the time it's usually under 7 minutes, but yeah.
Still use sweeps even though you have so many drop bits underneath. People use a lot of sweeps.
Yes. Yes.
So those are the drops out of it. So each door, all the way down through to the middle. If you don't know, the biggest bin in the world is 2.25 million bushels. So we're standing next to, that one's a 2 million. That's a lot of grain.
Yeah, a lot of the new ones has, I think they're called bin gators. So they have like, 2 set, we call them tractor drives. So they're not driven by, like you're talking about, not driven by one.
Yeah.
I would show you, but we just started putting grain in that. So.
Did ya? Brian was asking. He was like, if it's empty, I want to see inside of one of them.
Well, we just started putting grain in that. So.
It's hard for a lot of people to even justify, or not justify, but judge how, you know, your base, you know,
Right.
is probably just as deep in the ground as it is out, right? And I mean, that's, what, 3 foot on a normal pickup at least.
And then they got all this hooked up.
So this isn't, it's completely finished, or they're wrapping
Well,
little stuff up?
It's finished to where we can fill it, because we got to fill it 75% to do a settlement.
Oh, okay.
So it's finished to where we could actually fill it. They're still finishing up a lot. I mean, I think they got this done now, and then now they're working back there. I'll show you. They're working back there going to putting in another shipping line.
Okay.
So we'll be able to, if we need to, we'll be able to ship from just this side to the train cars if need be. Where before, we'd have to try to have grain over there too to keep it going. But we'll be able to ship from just this side.
Because you guys
if we had
will load
to.
probably a whole train at a time, right? Not just
Yeah,
one car.
90 cars. It usually takes us roughly no less than 9 hours. 9 hours, worst case scenario, 90 cars. It usually takes.
How much fits on a train car?
100 something.
Most of them's usually about 200,000 or 200,000 pounds per car.
Okay.
So,
Quite a bit.
yeah.
That's a lot of volume to move in 9 hours.
In 9 hours.
Yep. Like I said, last year we put pit 5 in. Of course, the power room, new dryer, new wet tank. I think that's, if I remember right, 250,000 bushel wet tank. Pull up, dump the front hopper, pull, then close it, pull up, dump the back hopper. It's not, we can dump the whole truck.
Oh, so you can be opening both doors at the same time?
Yes. Now, when we're busy, we have 2 guys back here, and if we're not busy, 1 guy can do it.
Now, do you have anybody running their trailers off remotes? I see some of the new trailers, they got hydraulic gates on them.
Some of them do. It's nice.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's some chain. Just to move grain across.
Control.
So how many people actually work here?
Altogether, there's Justin, Gunner, me, Robert, Tom. 7 of us out here,
Okay.
and then the office people.
That's full time?
Yeah.
Because you're moving grain year round.
Yes. Like here before long, people start bringing in contracts.
Yeah.
So harvest pretty much emptied up, and the only good thing about this year, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, but the only good thing about this year with harvest finishing up like it did, we'll actually get Thanksgiving.
You got caught up. Yep.
Where in
Normally-
previous years we've been busy,
You
so
work right through it.
we work, but a couple guys said their yield for like corn wasn't horrible,
Yep.
but it's obviously down. All crops are down, but you'll have, unfortunately,
Mother Nature.
well, and you'll have years like that sometimes. I mean, you have your good, and just some good and bad.
we know all about
You
it.
guys know that.
Last year we were soaked, so.
Wow. Here's pit 5. No, it won't hold a whole truck.
So if it's not running, it won't hold, but it will keep up with the supply through it.
Yes.
Huh.
So if it's closed like it is right now, it will not hold a whole truck.
You got it on that.
But yeah.
That's pretty convenient.
You gotta have that for some of the trucks.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, they'll take a toll on you.
Oh yeah.
They won't notice.
Cranking doors.
Well, it takes it wherever you're.
Well, you get to the next truck and you do that a few times and you're tired.
The other thing I noticed is you guys put a smaller grate underneath.
We did the
Well, that's over there.
In case you got a
Well,
handle.
the handle won't go through here,
Okay.
but if you do drop something,
Right.
unless it's really small, it's not going to go.
Yep.
It's not going to go through.
Because I've saw somebody put a handle through I don't know how.
One pitch, yeah. Yeah, so you got to be careful, yes. But good thing is we got stopped in time and
Right.
we got it out. There he is. He can answer a few more questions.
We're just on tour
I can't remember how much.
This is a 30,000 bushel
30,000.
bit
per hour.
per hour.
30,000 bushel an hour. So everything we're putting in new is 30,000 bushel an hour. I mean, we're just moving that much grain.
So before that wet bin or wet tank, what do you have for storage?
So this is our new wet tank for corn, pretty much, and we put it in so that we could have a better capacity on that side, on the north side, in our smaller concrete. So we built this to accommodate for wet corn, and then we have our new 10,000 bushel an hour dryer, and we dried quite a bit of corn through this dryer alone last year, and then we still have our 7,500 on the other side that we dried out of. So we were drying probably close to 15,000 bushel an hour last harvest. We got our new legs. So this bigger one on the far left is the receiving leg from the big pit.
Okay.
And then the wet and dry leg going to the dryer or the bin. So that bin holds 225,000, and I mean, you're drying out of it, so you're, as long as you're able to keep up on the drying, you're not running out of room in it.
Yep.
And then we had to get these big tanks. We actually converted this big tank closest to us. It was an ammonia tank, anhydrous ammonia, and we converted it to propane to accommodate for the dryer.
Yep.
So these two tanks alone go to this dryer.
How much propane do you use a year? Do you even want to know?
I don't even want to know, honestly. I mean, the bill's pretty hefty, I'm sure.
I could imagine.
So this is a 2 million bushel bin in front of us, and then behind this concrete tank is our first 2 million bushel bin. We have the one that's hidden is a soybean bin.
Okay.
This one closest to us is corn, and then this is our dust system out here. The big unit out here. From the dryer, well, we can go to 63 here, 2 million bushel, and eventually I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to go to this new 1.5 million.
Okay.
Once they get the routes all set up. So we actually just started dumping corn into that bin this week on Wednesday. Put our first couple loads in it, and then through the day yesterday.
Now, do you guys have a problem getting enough power to run all this? Or?
No, so my first year in 21, we had problems because we were drawing too much power from the grid, and we had multiple power outages my first harvest in 2021. Well, that next year, to accommodate for the Honda plant going in down 41, they put in a whole new power supply down 41. Well, that also comes up here, and pretty much the south side of our facility runs off that. So they hooked us up with power from that to help, because obviously, I mean, you're pulling quite a bit.
You got dryers,
Just on this side. Oh yeah, fans. I mean, pretty much every night, especially through harvest while it's warm and while it's warmer, we're running every single fan we can. Tank here has its own tunnel that feeds into the pit tunnel, and it's actually a drop, so you can't get down to the pit tunnel without going through the pit or one of the legs. So it feeds to the legs and then stops there, and then this bin has its own tunnel where you can, like, say you're cleaning, I mean, you just drop it right off the edge and then go down there and clean the pit tunnel, and you got all of it in one spot.
Took a little bit to figure all that out, didn't it? Because I was asking him, he said in the last 10 years, pretty much all of this side of the railroad tracks was built.
Yes, so the last bin to be built on the north side was bin 60, and I want to say it's this one right here we're coming up on, around this on the other side. It was 29 2019, I want to say this bin was built. 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And that one is a dry corn bin. I mean, we dry into that one from our smaller dryer, and we just dump into it from pit 1 and 2.
Okay. And then the rest of the concrete ones, those are like way back.
Yeah, so all these concrete bins, these ones were built in the 1940s to 50s.
Testament of time.
They started on the end with those 11 bins, built in 1947, and then they added on till sometime in the 50s, mid to late 50s. And then in the 60s, they built D House, which is across the road from these bins on the other side, and we can walk over there. So this was it until 1996 when they built the first metal bin. And that is it right there in the background.
And all of these are functional.
Yes, so we have 45 bins from the end of that concrete to the end of this concrete, 45 bins, and we use 40 of them.
Yep.
So they're still functional, still have draws to them, spouts.
Wild.
And I mean, everything up top's been updated, so I mean, we can control everything from the computer. We don't have to go turn a chain. Now there is still one turn head that's old school that I don't know why they didn't change it, but they left the wheel on it. So you go up there, you spin one wheel to go to the north side or the south side, and then on one side, I believe it's the north side. When you spin it to go to the north side, there's a second wheel because there's a third bin that it can go to that uses the same wheel. So the second wheel is to control the north bin or the inner size bin.
Huh.
So that's
Old school.
pay attention when you're
Otherwise it goes wrong place real quick.
Yeah, so 1996 was when they built the first steel bin. And that's bin 58. It's serving as a mid-range dry corn bin. And these are
Wow.
two 2 millions here in front of you.
So how long does it take them to put up a 2 million bin?
A
Bushel
2
bin?
million bushel bin, I believe, is 32 reams. I believe. And it takes them, they start with the roof. I mean, it probably takes them 2 weeks.
Really?
And then they're 2 to 4 weeks. I know they did this one fastest. So they were building this one when I started working here. And I mean, it was just something to see. You're watching them start with the roof, and then they get the jacks placed and they're raising it up. I mean, it's something. So these conveyors up here, this conveyor coming out from under this bin,
Yep.
feeds to these two obviously, and it goes to the loadout. It goes up that shipping leg onto that belt conveyor and comes down. So that's one of our north loading operations. And then we have a conveyor in the basement of these concrete bins that can also feed up another leg and come out to this belt conveyor to the loadout. Then we have, I mean, all these bins have reclaim conveyors to feed to the loadout. And obviously, you know, this one is corn, so we make sure that this conveyor is cleared off of the beans, start loading out of here, and it feeds all the way to that conveyor right here, going to those legs and that pit in front of that bin.
Yep.
Feeds out there. I mean, so everything meets in the middle when we can walk over there and see it.
So how much fits in the bin above the train cars?
So in the garners, I'm not sure a bushel total that fits up there, but I know you can fit about, I want to say 18,000.
Okay.
18,000 pounds. of
So-
grain.
So at what point does a train car get weighed, or do you fill it till it's full, or?
So they come in with load limits, and they'll say 223 pounds is the limit on this car.
Okay.
Well, when we put in all our information into our computer, we have to do an offset because the test weights might be different on the grain, and to allow it to fit without making a mess and overflowing cars and having to deal with grain going everywhere on the ground, we do an offset about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds to account for any FM in the corn or beans, things of that nature. So we put that in, and then when it gets red on the end of that yellow track, and it comes in, it gives us the weight with the offset, accounting for the offset. So instead of 223,000, it'll say 220,000, and we'll load it. And so everything is computerized now, so it keeps track of where it's at, how much it has left, and it tells itself to only allow this much in the scale. So there's an upper garner where it comes in.
Yep.
And then when the scale empties out into the lower garner, the upper garner will open into the scale.
Okay.
And then when the lower garner...
So there's two compartments pretty much in there.
There's three.
There's three.
There's three. There's the upper garner, the scale, and the lower garner. The lower garner, the last thing stopping the lower garner is the gate. And we control the gate.
Yep.
So say that you get to the last draft of the first hopper, you're moving, and it's raining, slippery. While he's taking an extra few seconds to kind of pull down, you close the gate so you don't plug it up. When you plug the spout up, it trips our sampler because the corn or beans are just sitting there, and it can't do what it's supposed to do for the sampler. So we control the gate, make sure it's not backing itself up or anything.
Okay.
And the lower garner, yeah, like I said, the last thing stopping is just the gate. Scale knows when the lower garner's empty. Upper garner knows when the scale is empty. And then this is our new dust system right here. Like I was telling you, we had quite a fuss from the town. So we had, we loaded quite a few trains where we were just getting...
Looked like a dust storm?
It was not that. I mean, it's just the town's looking at us funny. So it finally got to the point where we put in a dust system. Hopefully everybody's happy.
So that's new this year?
Oh yeah, that's fresh. That it's only seen maybe 10 trains. Maybe a couple more.
And you were saying trains can be up to 90 cars? Is that?
So our new unit train is 105 cars.
105.
So we load anywhere from 88 to 105 cars, roughly.
At 200,000 pounds plus per car?
So we get smaller cars, and the load limit might be 200 on the dot. It might be 199. So we load cars sometimes that are 196,000 pounds.
Huh.
And then on those cars, obviously we don't fit that much, so we load those about 3,600 bushel, 3,500.
Yep.
The big cars we load about 4,000 bushel. So if you get a full train, 100 cars, and good, nice big cars, I mean, you're loading out 400,000 bushel.
And he was saying in like 9 hours.
Yeah. Yep. So
you don't load any semis out of here?
we do.
You do?
When we start getting low, or say, and this was mainly when Cargill Sydney opened up their bean plant.
Okay.
We shipped out a bunch of beans through the rail loadout on truck.
Oh.
So we made.
Yeah.
Come through here. They can come through either way, depending on which way the wind's blowing. They'll want to come in.
Yeah.
And we load them up. We have them weigh in on the scale, so we know what they weigh. And in Ohio, obviously, 80,000 is all you can run. So they weigh in at 25,000. Load them up with 54, 55 to can't really load them up with that much because then you're just getting more corn to overflow.
Yep.
So a lot of guys, anywhere from 25 to 30,000 pounds empty, come in, enter the weight that we need to, manually enter who it is.
Nice and tight in here.
It's a 500 pound capacity.
Okay.
So we just got this along with our first 2 million bushel bin.
Just push that.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we'll just go out here on the platform.
Wow. It doesn't do justice when you drive by a place like this.
I mean, you got to see it at night. I mean, we have a star on the front of the elevator over there.
Yeah.
On those legs farthest from us. There's like a Christmas star we have that we plug in during the winter.
Yep. Holy smokes. That's insane. Wow. That sure beats climbing up here. So I know it's a little noisy and windy and whatnot. They're working on, so... Oh, I'm standing there lazy. They're bringing the conveyor out from this bottom of this 2 million that they just put in, going across, put another leg in for loadout. He said they got no big projects planned for 2025 that he knows of, and he is the operations manager. So he came out of high school, started doing this. Hell of a place, and I appreciate them letting us see it and taking their time to tour us around. So, and it's all because you guys watch along that makes it happen. But Brian lined this up and it's awesome. I've been past here a few times. Brian pulled me in and drove me around once, but otherwise this size of a facility is absolutely amazing. That is a long way up there. Got a couple of modern day outlaws up there. That white Pete out front looks pretty sweet. So, bull haulers. This is a family owned operation in the back here. As he said, they were actually building out and they had to buy some land off them to expand that way. But that is quite the facility too. I don't know how big that is, but that's no small facility at all.
So both of these legs feed to the rail loadout. This is a 30,000 bushel an hour leg. That's a 15.
Yep.
The 15 feeds from these two bins right here. This 30,000 feeds from the 2 millions and the 1.1 behind here.
And then everything to load cars comes through here, right?
Yeah. Yep. Got a hydraulic pump switch that lets us control everything on the spout. Right here is where we control the spout.
Okay.
Got our computer in her and all the information we need. Keeps track of our cars. It'll show weights.
So when you're loading train cars, nobody's actually on the top of the train, right?
Oh, no, we have 1 to 2 guys out there.
Okay. And you were saying the federal inspectors.
The federal inspectors, we can go down there next.
They're pulling samples of it.
So we get, actually this pipe right here goes to the grader shack, and then there's another that feeds to us in our pit office.
Okay.
So that we have a sample, so we know what's going on. We can see if there's corn, we can jump on it.
Because they'll shut down you loading based if there is mix of corn and
we'll
soy.
have to dump a car, and that takes 20 minutes
Uh-huh.
to dump a car. So we'd
rather not do that.
We'd rather not do that. Yeah.
Well, in your 9 hours of loading, it adds up real quick if you did that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're loading beans and you got some corn getting in the cars, they'll call it for foreign material. But I mean, there's obviously once you get to a certain point, it's like we need to dump this, or we can let it slide. But normally we're in touch. We're in contact with the merchandisers and our VP of grain.
Yep.
So they're also watching the grades as they come in, and we'll talk to them, or they'll call us and tell us like, hey, that one needs dumped.
Huh.
Truck's about.
I was gonna say. So this is the north side then.
Yeah, this is our north side.
But that's 7,500.
7,500 bushel. I mean, when we're drying, we're probably, you know, it depends on the moisture, obviously, that we're drying. If we're drying 18% corn, we can probably dry about 6,500 an hour. Don't have to slow it down to account for how wet it is.
Yep.
I mean, when we're drying 22% corn, you got to slow them down, and then obviously you're not drying to the capacity that you want.
Yep.
So all these bins, this conveyor right here with all the draws, those are our wet tanks that we use to go to that dryer.
Okay.
So that's our wet conveyor, runs to the wet leg, goes up, and it's drying.
So during harvest, you're going through both sides of the...
Oh yeah. I mean, once it, you know, with beans it doesn't matter. We don't dry beans.
Yep.
And we'll get them in a tank until they, in the concrete, until they dry down, and we'll start filling the big bins when they're drying down. And that's our D house section. That's condemned.
It's condemned?
Those are the bins that were built in the 60s.
Okay.
And that's a 275 on the end.
You use that or no?
Nope. It's all done. It's all out.
They've come a long way with bin storage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was telling him, we added 5.5 million, but took away about 500,000.
Yep.
Right, so we're since I've started, we've net 5 million bushel space. About.
And that was built back when there was a feed mill and everything else here?
Oh yeah. I mean, so when I started, the feed mill was gone. We were still using that. No 2 million bushel bins.
Yep.
I mean, just in 3.5 years, I've seen tremendous growth just in this location.
So this was
1947. Obviously, there's been additions.
upgrades and everything else.
I mean, these are 2 lakes over here. So this is our B and C house basement. This is the conveyor that runs underneath all the concrete.
Huh. Yep. So they were saying they're sloped, but you still gotta mess with them.
So there's this aeration pipe, there's a screen in there,
Yeah.
and I mean, we gotta clean those off. We actually just replaced this one. Not until a couple weeks ago, we just replaced the screen in there.
Okay.
One more time, they get beat up. This one's actually pushed over because it was one of the old ones with no support in it.
Okay. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. That was awesome. So I really appreciate these guys giving us a tour. When you drive by, it's impressive and big, but it's until you're standing next to them or on the top of them.
The top is really good.
Top. I'm afraid of heights, and I did that for you guys. But the one guy that first started giving us a tour there, he runs 54 there. So we're gonna see what Brian's doing, but we do have to get down the road a little bit. We're not gonna get home till midnight. Your old lady's gonna be mad at you. Yeah, so they were swapping loads out there. Justin, appreciate the tour and all the knowledge on it. So.
And then during harvest, they run 2 inbounds, but most of the time during slow times,
1 inbound.
because the second scale goes to a separate room, so they don't have anybody in the back room. But you have full tags.
Wild.
Then when you're sitting on the scale, it'll tell you your moisture, your damage, your test weight.
So you already know. There's no guessing. So they said 10-minute turnaround time from when you pull into when you leave. A new tag issued. Show tag or scan tag. Please pull on. It doesn't weigh us. I guess that's a good thing. Roll tarps. So there's the probes. This is a high tech.
You have 2 spots that come in a grain truck with a single axle. You stop at the first one, and if you're a long truck, you pull up the second one.
I didn't even realize that.
Then you hit the button and you can talk to them.
When they probe it.
And then if you don't plan on changing it, every time you come in, you never talk to them again.
Yep.
And then that way you can go, if you get out of line dumping or anything like that, your CompuWay always tells you which truck. So when you come in here and you set your tag up, you set it up for the truck, so it'll pop up when I go across the scale, it'll say white Freightliner or white Volvo or blue dump truck.
Huh. That's pretty smart. I never even thought about the tag side of it. I've
Like
seen the
me-
cards and whatnot.
Like me, I got 3 different people, and then if I haul for somebody, I just hit the button, tell them, and then every load I come back in if I don't need to.
Yeah. Well, appreciate Brian and Justin and everybody at Sunrise giving us a tour, showing us around. We're gonna go load the trailer with the rest of. We'll see. Well, I figured I'd split up today's video into 2 videos. It's gonna work out. You guys are gonna be excited for the next one, I hope. And honestly, well, I'll tell you at the end of this. But appreciate everybody at Sunrise. Appreciate Brian Brock. Appreciate you guys watching along, because they let us tour these facilities and see these things, and we get to meet great people because of everybody who watches along and where we are at on the channel. So 10 million bushels of storage there and 18 million bushels moved through it a year. That was a hell of a facility. I can't even fathom, but appreciate Justin and the whole crew, the hospitality and showing it off so that you guys could see it too. Like, I'm amazed. But we are back, and to give you guys a little bit of an update, we got rain. It hasn't snowed yet, because a lot of people are pointing we're going to get some bad weather. Hoping it doesn't snow, but we're about, I'd say, 1/3 through harvest. So there's going to be some great harvest content moving, and we got some great things happening. But appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and being part of the channel. And yeah, it's gonna be a good harvest. So have a good one.